Case File 002, The Phone Call in the Night. In March 2013, an ordinary night was unfolding in New York. It was 2:17 a.m. The city was almost completely silent, but that night, a phone call that came into the police station would become the beginning of a case that remained unsolved for years. The officer on duty answered the phone, but for a few seconds, there was no sound on the line. Then, a very faint whisper was heard. "Help them find me." The officer immediately spoke. "Sir, who is this? Where are you calling from?" But the person on the phone didn't answer. Only the sound of could be heard. Just as the officer was about to repeat the question, the man on the phone said one more sentence. "They're coming." Then the line went dead. At first, the police thought it might be a prank, but a few minutes later, they noticed something strange in the system. The call hadn't come from any number. The system couldn't identify the source of the call. This was extremely rare, but things were about to get even stranger, because exactly 17 minutes later, the police station received a second call. This time, there was a different voice on the line, a woman's voice, but the woman wasn't speaking. She was only... The officer spoke again. "Ma'am, I can hear you. Where are you calling from?" The woman kept crying. Then suddenly she spoke. "You won't find him." The officer immediately asked, "Who?" The woman replied with just one word, "You're too late." And the call ended again. By now, the police were beginning to think this was not a joke, because the two calls had something in common. Both appeared to come from the same location, but the place shown by the system was very strange. The location where the calls came from was a building that had been demolished 10 years ago. The building used to be a small hospital, but after a fire many years ago, it had been completely abandoned. Still, the police decided to check the report. At 3:40 a.m., 2 patrol units arrived at the location. The building was indeed abandoned. The windows were broken, the walls were blackened, and no one seemed to be inside. But a few minutes after entering the building, the officers noticed something very strange. They could hear a phone inside the building, an old landline phone. The officers followed the sound down to the basement. That's where it was coming from. There was a small room in the basement. Its door was slightly open. When they entered the room, they saw an old table standing in the middle, and on top of the table, there was a dusty landline telephone. The phone was... One of the officers picked up the receiver, but once again, no one spoke on the other side of the line. Only the same sound could be heard. The officer spoke. "Who is this?" There was silence for a few seconds. Then the person on the phone spoke, but what they said sent chills down everyone's spine, because the voice on the phone said, "He's standing behind you." The officer slowly turned around, but there was no one in the room. Despite searching the building that night, the police found no trace of anyone else. The phone line had been cut years ago. There was not even electricity in the building, but the investigators reviewing the case were left with one question. If there was no electricity in the building, how was the phone? And more importantly, who was answering it? To this day, the case remains unsolved.